It's refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a laser disc.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the weather channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 59 of the Frog Brothers podcast. Welcome. That's my esteemed colleague, Alec.
59, dude.
I'm Justin. And this little fellow over here, that's Nick.
He's already lost in his phone.
He's looking at pictures
He's
of...
online chatting
I'm answering our fan mail.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
What, does somebody want to fuck us?
No.
Oh. And delete it.
Yeah, Nick, you can save that for your personal time
I wish
later.
I could do a Casey Kasem voice.
No, just kidding. We would never abuse our power.
Now on with the countdown.
My S letter comes from.
And now, on with the countdown.
Oh, like geez, Scoob.
Are we just...
We're just fucking around right now.
Going back and forth with Casey Kasem impressions. Like
Exactly. That's really the most important thing you can talk about is Casey Kasem's voice of Shaggy.
You know.
Gee, Scoob.
That's not actually Casey Kasem. That's, I can't remember the guy who voices Gex, but that's from Gex.
Gex. So the news this week.
The snooze.
The news is mighty and full of fun. There's lots of Marvel announcements that you may have watched, seen, or heard about today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it.
The sizzle reel they released?
Superhero sex organs.
Pretty much.
Excelsior.
And then the release calendar is pretty slick. I like that.
You know, I like that kind of thing.
I like how Stan Lee voiced over that sizzle reel. That was pretty slick.
Yeah, it was pretty, yeah.
Heartwarming. Heartwarming. Very nice.
There was a little bit of new stuff in there, like some footage from Eternals.
Yep.
Some Black Widow stuff, which I'm pretty sure we've seen, but not all of it necessarily. I can't tell because it looks similar to what we've seen. Yeah, they did their release schedule, what Black Panther is now called Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the secondary title is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So
that's pretty cool.
I like it. Hopefully that'll be a nice tribute to Chadwick Boseman as his Black Panther gets transferred over to someone else.
I'm most stoked for the next Spider-Man, just because those movies have been... Somebody's texting me.
So you two dig up dinosaurs. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Is that all it's called right now?
Yeah, Volume 3. Which is probably what it ended up being called. Who knows?
Cinco de Mayo.
The other one's just called Volume 2, isn't it?
2023. Huh?
The other one's just called Volume 2, isn't it?
Yep.
So I'm sure it'll just be called Volume 3 then.
The other thing that was cool is the Christmas special. James Gunn announced that he completed the first draft of that. So
yeah.
I know hopefully that once this movie gets shot and released, he'll be able to chill out for a little bit. I think he's feeling the pressure and the burnout maybe right now. So hopefully he's got a little bit of downtime before.
That's releasing this year, right?
I don't think so.
It's not releasing for this Christmas?
Because that comes out 2023, the next movie. It's supposed to shoot at the same time as the next movie. Because you're already going to have their cast assembled. So I'd assume that'll be out the Christmas
22.
before Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
If you were putting me as a betting man.
Okay.
And then, did they reveal the title for something else? Or is everything else kind of already revealed?
I don't know. It was nice.
I think we knew the title for everything except Black Panther.
It was nice getting hyped up for Black Widow again, because looks like there's some pretty good story stuff on there, even though we've kind of already resolved their story. It's hopefully still going to fit in place nice. You know, just because we know how something ends doesn't mean we don't want to see.
And I guess that's
how we got there.
Originally where Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character was going to premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, in case you didn't hear Alec announce that before, Nick announced it again today. So thanks for keeping us up to date on all the information Alec told us.
Yep. I think that's about it for the news. I bought a couple detolfs for the video storeroom.
After you went there the other day to find out that they were not in stock, you had to go back today for a restock?
Well, it said there were 5 online the other day before I left the house. And I was like, all right, this is like legit 30 miles from here, so it was super annoying to drive there. It was like exactly like the scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where he's like looking for the spot with his car, because I was looking at my phone where I had saved it when it tells you where the aisle is.
Yep.
And I was literally like, and I just walked up to it, and it was fucking empty.
I want a detolf right fucking now.
Yeah, except I didn't do that because I'm not Karen.
You got a little more sense in that.
Exactly.
But I can imagine you doing that, and that brings.
Yeah,
joy
I mean,
to
I
me.
thought about it in my head and just imagined it, and that was enough for me. And then I drove home sad.
Sometimes it's just the thought that counts.
And then I checked again yesterday. The stock had gone up to 15 detolfs. So I was like, I should be able to get one of those.
You want to explain what that is for the layman?
For those who don't know, it is a Swedish-made furniture from IKEA. So this is the place I was going to purchase it. It's the glass cabinets you see everyone's putting their fucking toys in who owns toys.
They're a great price. You can see through them all around. They're easy to add lights to, so they're pretty excellent for collecting.
Yeah, so they had 15 in stock last night. And then I woke up and I checked stock again, and it was at 3. And I was like, well, maybe somebody went and bought a bunch or something, but I'm going to go up there anyway if these 3 are still here. And I just kept checking the stock on my way there to make sure it was still in stock.
Drove all the way out there again.
Exactly.
With just 3?
Well, I was refreshing it the whole time. When I got there, there were 15.
You learned the hard way.
So I grabbed 2. I was like, this is enough for now. And then I'll worry about more later because they are fairly big. So I'll fill those up, and then later on this month or next month or something, I'll pick up a couple more. I can definitely fill them all, but I'm going to take it easy.
Fill them all at the shopping mall.
That was my IKEA adventure.
Very nice. Nick and I went down to, or up to St. Joseph, Missouri. Missouri.
It's pronounced Missouri up there.
As old people say, or politicians, or whatever else. And we participated in the Apple Blossom Parade, so Nick got to drive. I carried my pack, my full-size pack, through the whole parade. It was just fine. Actually, better, more comfortable than being stuck at a con standing in one spot all day wearing, I'll tell you that. Motion is the key to survival.
Anytime someone asks you about your proton pack, you should just say,
This is a snakeskin jacket.
This is a snakeskin proton pack. I wore it as a sign of my individuality.
And my belief.
And personal freedom.
Exactly. You know what tomorrow is, kids? May the 4th
be with you.
So if you're listening to this Tuesday, May the 4th be with you. And we'll probably be talking about any announcements next week on the show.
Yeah.
Since this is a Monday night Raw. But not in the way you think
Monday
it's
night Raw dogging.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Raw as in unprotected vaginal sex.
Oh, I was going to say there's an unprotected raw dog over there. He's sleeping.
Yeah, my dog is sleeping over here. His name is Booger.
He's very nice.
Very sweet man. He didn't even open his eyes, so you know he's in a deep sleep.
Yeah, he's resting.
You heard me say his name, but he didn't acknowledge because he's asleep. So,
because on this day and at this time, 0 fucks were given by Booger.
That's about all I have in the news, except
sneak
peek. Nick, why don't you show us
if you're at the merchandise?
If you are a viewing person, you'll see Nick is wearing a nice Frog Brothers
viewing
Podcast
person. What
shirt.
Justin's referring to is
the YouTube channels.
Yes.
And if you're on the audio, go to the YouTube to see the video of Nick wearing our new shirt.
Who made this design, Justin?
Baducci Studios. And actually, if you're not familiar with him, He was re-grammed by the official Ghostbusters account today for some fan art he did of Paul Rudd in front of the logo with some mini puffs.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fucking slick design, if I say so myself.
Quite enjoy.
Very nice to have him giving us a very nice logo to work with. It's been recognized by the aficionados of the official peoples of the Ghost Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a few shirts on the way, so we're going to be launching
It was my choice for first t-shirt.
the online shirts very soon. And we got some other treats up our sleeves and in our pants. Makes you want to do the boogie dance.
Eventually, you'll be able to buy a fanny pack.
Thanks, Dad.
I never said I was putting fanny packs up.
Oh,
Fuck you want a fanny pack for?
I want one.
Go to Up Down and get one on Sunday.
Oh.
So let's jump into it. What's first?
What are we jumping into?
Well, we don't have a water cooler cult this week, so
I'll tell you. We're gonna go to. I'm stalling here, by the way. That's what's
He's
happening.
This movie is so bad. This movie is. 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 This is still pretty fucking awful.
Oh, doesn't make you want to rub your titties.
Not really, but if you want to, go for it. Nick's
I got a half
nipples
chub
are
going
pierced.
every time I listen to that one.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some metal rings through his nipples.
Mine are always hard.
In case you're into that sort of thing.
We're talking 1996. Drawing Flies, which
That sound you're hearing is not Alec fapping.
that one is. That one is too. No, that's my dog flapping his ears around. He's stood up and he's walking around the room. I'm just going to narrate what my dog is doing. That's his podcast now. No, we're talking 4 rooms. No. We're talking Drawing Flies. See what, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Drawing Flies, View Askew Productions, produced by Kevin Smith and
Scott Mosier.
Scott Mosier.
Written and
They all have
directed
some
by
cameos
Malcolm
in here.
Ingram and Matt Gissing. Or Gissing. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry.
Jizzing sounds right.
But
I certainly was not doing that during this film.
The cast. Let's just name off a few of these motherfuckers.
Jason
Lee. Starring. He also supported heavily by Jason Mewes, Renee Humphrey, Carmen Lee. What's the other guy's name? I didn't even write that guy's name.
Ethan Suplee?
No. The other guy that's with them that I don't recognize. The whole
Oh,
movie.
yeah, I don't remember his
Martin
name.
Brooks is the only one I see.
Probably that.
As Jake.
Obviously, Scott Mosier, Kevin Smith, Ethan Suplee, and Joy Lauren Adams make appearances. So that's pretty fun. Pretty fun. Good times. This isn't the worst movie ever made. It's very interesting, but it's you have to pay a lot of attention to it because there's a lot of slow moments.
There's a big reason why this movie's so fucking hard to find because it feels like an art school project.
Yes, very much. But it's, I don't know, there's something endearing about it that I like.
There's things about it that are really fucking annoying too, but overall it's not terrible. It's entertaining.
It's fairly well acted. I mean,
the acting's pretty decent just because you know the people too.
I guess my biggest complaint right off the bat is the editing. There's some editing in this that's just trash.
I don't think there's necessarily bad editing. Well, there is, but I think the worst part is the sound that sometimes is just all of a sudden shitty.
Oh, yeah.
That really just bums me out, that stuff.
Would you think that would just be easy to redo?
Fluctuated a lot too.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean by that. Like, the sound is not great, but you can't go into this expecting, even though it was shot on the same type of camera as Clerks, but Clerks later went to Miramax, and that's the version we're all familiar with, the version that was cleaned up and heavily up-produced as much as they could, you know?
Yes.
This movie didn't receive that treatment ever. It was fucking
it's-
cut and done. And then it was not released on VHS. It was released on DVD later on.
Very limited release, yeah.
6 years after the original release in 96. This was made like right after Mallrats, I think, with a lot of the same people from it. Obviously, Kevin Smith producing with Scott Mosier, and
I think he met the director.
They funded it.
He met the director during Mallrats.
Yeah, and they were big into his stuff at the time too.
Yeah, it almost feels like a tribute to Kevin Smith's early stuff, just based on kind of where you're seeing it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of the same kind of a cast, people you're familiar with.
It's just not as quick or as witty. It's interesting and it has interesting concepts. It could be so much better, but I get it for what you had to do. Like, it's not like they could just sit there and rework this stuff. They don't have the budget for that, you know. So
no, they probably had a very limited shooting schedule amongst other things. And
yeah.
then,
I mean, I feel like a couple of rewrites.
The concept itself, the basic concept's not terrible, right? This guy starts having visions, and they're all poor and on unemployment. Like 4 roommates all live together, and they're just struggling to get by and survive in life. And
yeah, and he's like, he wants to go out and hunt Bigfoot. It's not clear to the audience at this point.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's exactly his girlfriend calls it. Oh, this is the one with Bigfoot because he's watching $6 Million Man. And he's like, no, Sasquatch.
Yeah, so that night after they have that conversation, like he has this vision on the couch, or when he goes to sleep, that he sees like a Sasquatch in the living room there, and it gets kind of weird from there. And you're like, okay, whatever. You know?
I like that shit. That shit's some of the best part. Is the weird,
the
shitty
surrealist
Sasquatch.
bullshit in there is some of the best. And then you get to the other point, and
well, that's what I was saying. It's almost like a '90s music video vibes. You know, when you were saying it's like a student art house film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's very, I don't know, just so weird.
Well, like they have a neat party scene at the beginning where you kind of see that they're trying to make their rent, is what you find out. So they're having a kegger there to try to make rent because none of the 4 people they were able to save and responsibly pay rent.
I mean, splitting rent 4 ways, you'd think,
be pretty easy. You'd hope anyway.
Oh shit.
But Jason Lee plays Donner, right? And they just call him Donner the whole time, which is funny because it's like the Donner Party, ha 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 ha, and they go out in the woods, ha ha ha, and they make bad decisions. Oh.
I don't know. I think it's funny.
There's no cannibalism there, so that's a little disappointing.
True. I do like the conversation at the party about Shaggy.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, there's some really fun dialogue in there, but it's just not consistently that great, which is, I guess, the downer for me.
Right. I mean, there's elements of where that Shaggy conversation could have gone, but it's like if all the little sketches and bits in Clerks where Randall is going off on something really interesting, if they had cut that down and only included like 10% of that, you know? It's like it almost starts to get interesting, and then it cuts to something else.
Yeah.
And it does that a lot anytime they're talking about something pop culture or something irreverent like that Kevin Smith was known for.
Yeah. There's some interesting scenes in here, too, which just makes it disappointing when you see the stuff you really like. They shot this up in Canada, and one of my favorite scenes in the whole thing is just because it looks visually interesting and is actually well exposed and everything is there's a scene where they're crossing this basically rope suspension bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Looks very much like out of Indiana Jones, except it's black and white, and it's pretty cool, and just kind of shows you them going like deeper into the wilderness.
I was like, it has a lot of interesting shots, but a lot of them are shitty just because the camera and the exposure and stuff you can tell is here and there. But
my biggest complaint, though, like when I said it was editing for this, to me, is like they have a bunch of random scenes where like they're driving the car or this van around, and like they really just want a music placement, so they have these scenes way longer than they need to be because they wanted to get to like a certain part in the music that they had in their mind when they wrote it. And since you don't see anyone in the car in a lot of those scenes, you just kind of see the van driving. It's kind of defeats the purpose and takes away from it.
I was about to say, there's a little much of that, like where it's almost montagey and they bring up music and just show them walking or driving or something for a while, and it's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, and to me, like they could have streamlined it. I think this was not even an hour and a half or something, so it was
an hour and a half.
Pretty compact movie, but
I do like the dreams of dancing with Sasquatch. That's what he's doing in those. That's some of my favorite shit in there.
Yeah, that's great. And then the shoplifting jacket they have.
Yeah, they take turns shoplifting.
Yeah, and like the one girl's like, "Is it your turn?" And she's like, well, where's the jacket?" So she gets this like big trench coat on. You see her go steal a bunch of, she's stealing out of the beer cooler there?
I couldn't tell what she was stealing.
It
was like cans of beans or something.
Yeah, but they're basically just shoplifting everything out of gas stations, convenience stores while they distract somebody, which, okay, whatever. Nothing too exciting, but it's those little moments there that like you see where there's potential. You know, things like that. Like, okay, that's interesting. Like how they show the distraction, everything else going on.
Oh, I love the part when they're driving, And he's asking him to see the
map.
Yeah, he's asking him to see the map. And he says, "Don't ever touch my fucking map."
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "What?" He's like, "Nosy little shit." He's like hiding from where they're going and shit like that. Like just eluding conversations and just being a total dick and then pretending he was kidding and shit.
Yeah, and Donner, obviously Jason Lee has the best performance in this, hands down. Obviously, he's the most notable person to come out of this movie, and it's clear for a reason that way. Not that anyone else is like just completely terrible.
Well, no, I think this is a good move for Jason Mewes too, because it's like you can get just some more experience under your belt.
Yeah,
because he was starting to be in shit, like real shit at that time,
Yeah, and he's fine in it too, because he's much more subdued than he was, as Plan J.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's not super over the top. He's like, still reminds you of Jay, just his delivery, because that's who he is. But
yeah,
it works.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
The girls work too. Renee Humphrey and Carmen Lee, they're great. They all did a pretty decent job, the main cast. So how's that going for it? At least it's not like you're sitting there going, "Wow, this is badly acted." As you're just like, "All right, I'm bored." If anything,
the acting was fine.
No, the interesting piece though too is like once the party figures out what the hell Donner's doing, they basically run into the diaper men.
Yeah,
and that's who he's been tracking for a while. You come to find out after the conversation. And Scott Moger is one of the diaper men, and it's interesting to see him play a character here.
That's beautiful, man.
Like you see this guy in a diaper, like crying, acting like a baby, and the group sees this from afar and like is kind of mocking them and making fun of it by doing like crying baby sounds. And
oh yeah,
they get pissed and they kind of like chase after him and storm after him and they run off. It's really silly, over the top, but it's kind of hilarious to see a bunch of grown men running around in diapers in a weird way.
Sort of arousing.
Yeah, it was weird that Nick had a boner the whole time.
Yeah, I was really shocked when he took it out and then you started to slob on it.
I don't think that happened, but
maybe I imagined that, but
maybe
I'm pretty sure it happened.
I don't think so.
No, there's 2 against 1. Just like last night.
Your mind has repressed it.
Justin's nickname is Chinese Finger Cuffs now.
I'm going to go die, so I'll see you guys in hell. Oh, wait, I don't
No, you
believe in
won't.
hell.
It doesn't exist. Don't worry. When you
don't
die,
believe in any of that nonsense.
all your trauma goes away.
If anyone's in hell, it's God himself for creating childhood cancer. So fuck you, God.
Oh,
basically.
And if I offended you, well, you have your opinion. I have mine.
I mean, God has killed more people than anyone else ever. So, I mean, Hitler's a better guy than God.
God doesn't give you anything you can't handle.
This is real controversial here and way off topic, but if God didn't want abortions to happen, he wouldn't allow them to happen. So God's responsible for every one of those that ever happened.
Pretty much.
So
God killed a lot of babies in the Old Testament.
I mean, God flooded the earth and killed fucking every baby on earth.
And caused hemophilia by allowing everyone to inbreed. So that's cool.
Come on now.
Hey, wait a second. Does that mean Tom Brady's God because he likes inbreeding?
Welcome to the God Brothers podcast.
Pretty much. Anyway, so back to the Donner Party.
Down with God!
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan, get money.
You didn't play your church music.
Oh, yeah, they say that they fucking never saw him again or some shit. After they get back to society and they ended up having to leave him out in the woods because he was going fucking nuts. He was like smearing mud on himself and shit.
Yeah, the last straw you see with Donner is he's out there, he takes his shirt off, he starts rubbing mud all over himself, and they're like, no, come on with us. And he's like, they're actually really concerned about him, and he just refuses and just does his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's so Sasquatch can't see him with his heat vision.
Wait, is this a Predator sequel now?
Not his heat vision, but his, what do you call it?
Sasquatch is one of God's creatures. We do not mock him.
Infrared. That's what I mean.
Wait a minute. Does it say that in the Bible?
I'm pretty sure it does. At least the version I wrote, it does.
Oh, man. Hopefully. Unicorns are in the Bible, too, so come on. Come on.
They didn't make it to the ark.
Come on. I don't even know if that's not necessarily part of the plot. I don't know where they're at in the Bible. I don't remember, to be honest, but I have read the part.
Unicorns and dinosaurs didn't make it to the ark.
No, dinosaurs, those never existed. The bones are implanted by the devil to make you think that there's no God. Don't you know this, Nick?
There's more than one cover-up story.
That is the true one, though.
Oh.
Dinosaurs never existed. And for you to say that is blasphemous, and I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Satan put the fossils here.
You're a
test our faith.
blasphemer. Blasphemers.
Oh, man.
Smoke weed every day.
Good transition, because it was
noticed-
getting dark.
I just noticed it said the running time was 76 minutes.
If you're still with us, we're going to talk about something else now. Something
Fucking A, man.
Something less controversial.
I don't know about that. I don't have music for the ranking thing either. We should do that sometime. I need to.
Just
But
play the Batman song.
The Batman song, because I have that.
You had part of it in the old intro.
Yeah, I had part of it. Do you want me to play
that?
Actually, it's in
And
the
he
current
straightened
intro,
it, so you can't even play part of it. It's been straightened. Ooh, this is sure to piss some people off. So we ranked
10 Batman movies, all the live action ones, basically.
Mine will definitely piss off most people.
We're just already ignoring you. Where's that mute button? I need to have this on hand.
Yeah, it's this button right here is gonna.
Yes.
Oh, you're back. Yeah. All right.
What's
so
that one do?
don't touch anything. You don't know what it does, and you're not allowed to touch it.
What's that one do?
Is it?
Don't touch it, or I shall kill you, and I shall make you eat your penis.
Is it heavy?
Why is it orange?
Then it's expensive. So put it down.
Didn't pick up anything.
You're expensive. Put them back.
All right. So we ranked the Batman movies, and live action bullshit.
Ew, that was gross.
All the live action Batman movies,
10
including
films.
Sounded like a pollywog in a bog. You coughed.
We don't need to
there.
list them all. We'll go through.
including Batman versus Superman and Justice League.
And Batman 66.
Right.
But anyway. Start at
But
number 10.
that is an actual Batman movie where Batman versus Superman and Justice League aren't just a Batman movie. That's why I specified.
Okay.
All right.
And I think I'm the only one that's seen the Snyder Cut. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just don't give a shit.
Okay. So mine,
people
mine
keep
will be
trying to-
based on the Snyder Cut.
People keep trying to tell me to watch it. I'm just like, I
Well-
just don't give a fuck.
You could watch it in increments.
Someday I might be bored enough to give it a try.
It's possible that I'll someday randomly be like, yeah, I kind of want to just see some more Batman that I haven't seen before. But I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, who wants to start? Nick, we're going to start with you and go down the line.
You can go down with your number 10.
My number 10 is Batman and Robin.
Well, that was fucking cliche.
Yeah.
I disagree, but
I immediately disagree also.
critics do agree that that is one of the worst movies ever made. But not every critic is actually worth a shit, because if you see some of the places...
You are not sending me to the cooler.
If you've seen some of the movies that they give awards to...
I mean, you can enjoy it for its silliness, but if...
You would understand.
All right, everyone, chill.
But ranking it as a Batman film, I have to put it last.
It's way better than some other shit on your list, Nick.
Oh, God.
Yes? What do you want? Do you want to go next, or should I?
I want Nick to be smited already.
That's confusing. Just you go next.
All right. My number 10 is Justice League. Hot flaming dog garbage. If I shit out razor blades, I'd probably have more fun than I did watching Justice League.
Well, if I was going by the original cut, that might have been my number 10. But
No, mine is also Justice League.
Fucking thing sucks.
Exactly. It's like that Alkaline Trio song. Shaking like a dog shitting razor blades. That's what I felt like
The Whedon
watching
cut
that
would
movie.
probably be my number 10, but I get to go by the Snyder.
All right, well, what's your number 9? Now that we got that out of the way. I feel better already. It's like therapy.
Brace yourself. You guys braced?
Do we want to fight already? Am I going to have to flip this fucking table?
The
No.
Dark Knight Rises.
Really? Okay.
All right, just ignore Nick.
Because that movie doesn't make any fucking sense.
Remember, kids, if you pick
My
on people
friend,
like Nick,
don't be
it's
a jerk.
considered bullying, especially when...
Plenty of people dislike that movie, though, so that's not...
I mean, I dislike it, but I don't dislike it like that.
When I rank these, you'll find the level of dislike I have for that movie when I get to it.
I think it taints the whole trilogy, which makes it...
You don't even know anything about Taint besides yours is Harry.
My taint's not that hairy.
Are you kidding?
Everything on each side of it is, though.
You may be going bald, but you're fucking hairy like a goddamn Wolverine everywhere else. You sick fuck. My number 9 is Batman versus Superman. That movie's trash, too.
Yeah, that's also my number 9. We're going to have a pretty similar list here. I imagine there's going to be some differences still, but
There's probably a few in the middle.
Those two, I mean, there's nothing. The only thing, like, Ben Affleck could be a decent Batman, but he's not in a good Batman movie. He's never given anything cool to do. Even the suit is a little dumb. I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Fuck
they
that
just,
thing. It
they just
sucks
wasted
ass.
Ben Affleck for that. And Henry Cavill as Superman is like trying to be some dark version of Superman. You're
You
like,
don't even like
just
the
make him
warehouse
weird
fight?
He gets his power from our
something
sun,
cool
right?
to
So
do.
if we as regular people get our vitamin D from that, this should be the happiest motherfucker alive. And yet, this version of Superman is the most depressing version of Superman I've ever seen on film, and it's really
Well, this
boring.
Superman lives in modern time.
That's boring.
Boring. And everyone's depressed.
Right, what's your number 8?
Batman 66. But not because I dislike it.
Oh, well, explain yourself then, please.
I just don't like the I just don't like the campy interpretation of Batman.
Batman was campy then.
I know.
The comic was.
Doesn't mean I like that era of the comics. I'm not saying it's inaccurate. I just don't like that.
Well,
Oh, this explains it. Nick likes the Edgelord Batman stuff.
Oh.
Only like the Frank Miller Batman.
Yeah, he
It's
is.
been like that since the 80s, man.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
that
Frank Miller.
explains it.
Since the 80s.
Yes.
Not including, not just the or the Miller stuff.
Yeah, but the Miller stuff is the shit that is Ben Affleck. That's what Ben Affleck is based off of.
But all
so.
the comics since then have pretty much been that way.
Well, a lot of them have referenced it, but like Ben Affleck's costume and everything, the way it looks fucking
Batman
dumb
versus
as hell.
Superman is based on
Like that's the thing I don't like about
The Dark Knight Returns.
The Dark Knight Returns comic or whatever is how stupid Batman looks.
He does
I
look-
kind of hate
he
that.
does look
so.
weird, but he's I guess supposed to be old.
Well, my number 8's Batman and Robin, because that movie sucks. But I have a lot more fun watching that than I did watching Justice League or Batman versus Superman. So it's got that going for it, which puts it at spot number 8.
Well, my number 8 is Dark Knight Rises. It's not as bad as Justice League or Batman versus Superman. It just couldn't hope to be. But the problem I have with it is that Batman is over
better.
a fucking hole somewhere half the fucking movie. Catwoman's pretty garbage. Like, she's not portraying it bad. It's just written bad, and she's boring. Like, I don't care about her. She's not interesting enough to me. There's a few moments where you're, like, when she's first introduced with Bruce Wayne, that scene's pretty good. But other than that, like, she's all soft and like, oh.
Yeah, when she's being a cat burglar.
And she's not, like, a badass at all. Like, a little bit here and there, but... Plus, you have Alfred leaving. I mean, there's just a bunch of weird shit in that I don't like.
Sideline Gordon.
I failed you.
They sidelined Gordon to bring in Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
who could have. I just can't. I can't talk about that whole Robin thing. We got to skip. Let's go to.
Well, not just that, just sidelining Gordon.
I don't mind him as a character, but if you're going to have him be Robin, just have him be Robin. That's
Exactly.
what I'll say about
Yeah,
that.
until that, the character's fine, but I just didn't like them putting Gordon in the hospital through most of the movie either. Just to give him more to do.
I don't really give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck either because I just more worried about Batman being gone and
I
shit.
mean, if anything, Gordon deserves to be in the hospital.
What
for
that
being
movie
a
has
fucking
going
pussy.
for it is just the cool writing and sequences that usually involve Bane.
And I take that back. Gordon's not a pussy; he's an asshole. People like pussy. Some people like assholes, but
Pussy
Your assholes
implies
ain't your
something
pussy.
strong
Oh,
and
come
durable
on.
that can take a beating and stretch immediately back and not show signs of it.
assholes are the last things that shit see before they go into the toilet.
Yes.
So he's an asshole.
Number 7.
He couldn't keep his city safe. He
Nick?
shouldn't have had his job. He should have been fired.
Justice League Snyder Cut.
Wait, did we do number 7?
That's what he's doing.
Okay.
Large improvement over the original cut, but I still don't think Batman gets great stuff to do in it, as he shouldn't, because he shouldn't be in the same league with superheroes.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What I said makes perfect sense. What do you disagree with?
That he doesn't belong with superheroes?
Not superhuman heroes.
He
how
beat
do you-
Superman.
How do you think
because
the
of
Justice
Kryptonite,
League
and he's
comics
smarter
and
than him.
cartoon worked?
I don't like Batman being in the Justice League. I don't like Robin and Batgirl and all that shit either. I don't
Then
like
how-
Batman by himself.
Jesus Christ. You're just boring. Batman. Boring Batman.
I think Batman works better by himself.
I'm like Batman by himself, believe me. I'm just saying I don't the worst part about the Justice League to me is just that I don't care about the other superheroes as much. I only like Batman really. Now Green Lantern, Jon Stewart Green Lantern, pretty cool character. The Flash has potential.
Speaking of, did you guys hear about that Green Lantern TV show they're doing?
Don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Green Lantern, boring.
Well, Green Lantern could be cool, especially if they do the Jon Stewart one. Which is
I don't
the
think it's
Black Green Lantern.
I don't
For
think
those
it's
of you who
that
don't
one.
know. Justin may
But it's
know.
not the same one that from the movie though.
DC is just really having a hard time keeping my attention for anything. So,
what's your number 7, Justin?
Batman Forever. It's fun, but still just not nearly. I like other ones way better. There's other movies I will watch long before I'll watch that one.
It stayed on.
I think me and Nick are going to come together more than you on this because you haven't said Dark Knight Rises yet, and that's just upsetting.
No, don't you worry about that. I'll get to it.
Fuck that movie, and fuck you for liking it. I mean,
Hey, you say that to me
Jesus.
now, but he just told you he likes Justice League.
That's true.
No,
I mean,
Justice League's my but you guys haven't seen the Snyder
And
cut. So
he
you can't
ranked
say anything.
Batman. You know his.
well, I
look
can
at-
too because I've seen half of it.
Just listen to his rankings.
Yeah,
over
they
here.
didn't shoot an entirely new movie. Didn't happen.
That's pretty different.
Doesn't matter. The fact that it shares footage means I've seen part of it.
No, they just took the shit that they shot before and reused it, and then shot around.
Also,
the
I
shit that they didn't
hate
finish.
Superman with a passion. So there's no way
In
anything.
general?
Yes, always. He's the most useless, overpowering, boring-ass character. And I understand he has history and all that. Nobody can come to see me and say, well, he's one of the first superheroes. He is the first superhero. I don't give a fuck. He's boring as hell. He's just fucking Captain White guy. Like, with the most basic shit. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Let's not even get into that motherfucker. I hate him.
Who gives a fucking shit?
All right. Well, number 6, Nick.
Batman Forever.
Wait.
Oh, did we skip you?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Number 7. Batman and Robin. What year did this come out? 97?
Mm-hmm.
See, I was 6. So I can still watch it from that 6-year-old's perspective. Number 1 reason why it's higher on the list. Obviously,
Yeah, that would help.
it's pretty shit. Like, the fact that Batman has a Batman credit card and shit.
It says expiration date
I have
forever.
literally one of my favorite drinking games is to put this on, and anytime they make a pun, you take a drink. You'll be wasted in the first 20 minutes to the point where you will be like, "All right, I can't play this game anymore because we're gonna hurt ourselves."
Yes.
Because Arnold, the not even just Arnold. If you just did Arnold, you'd still get drunk. But then there's all the bat puns, and the plant puns. Oh my god, it's so fucking... That's the worst part about it. But it has vibes of the Batman 66 shit, which is why it's higher on the list for me.
The other thing about that movie that people often forget is I was at an age where I became aware that they're making different things in these movies just to sell toys. You know, like with Batman and Batman Returns, you get the same Batmobile for the most part, right? But you get some other stuff that changes in there. But these ones are just changing the Batmobile just to sell another toy. That's when I became aware that you're like, oh, you're clearly just doing this to sell shit.
Remember the Batmobile that's later in the movie that was on the ice for like 3 seconds?
Yeah.
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 There's 2 different Batmobiles in that one.
It might not be a Batmobile. It's like an ice thing.
Yeah. Okay,
but it still is like, really? Mr. Freeze's fucking car.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of shit. I'm pretty sure there was a
all
toy
the
of that made.
motorcycles that isn't. And I think Batgirl and Robin are both driving motorcycles around and
Well,
shit.
then, like in
when Batman's
Forever,
in-
they have the Batwing and the Batboat, but it gets like destroyed within 30 seconds. So it's like that was just a
Yeah.
toy.
It's simple.
Because it
Simple
didn't
design
really
for a toy.
have
Yeah.
a point to the movie.
Here's the thing. Have a point.
All right, number 6, Nick.
Batman Forever. It didn't quite go over the line of being over the top, goofy trash like Batman and Robin, but
Well, it was close. Tommy Lee Jones is pretty bad. because he's not two-faced. He's one-faced. He's extremely one-faced, and in that one face feels like Jack Nicholson.
All he does is plays the crazy role. Yeah, like he doesn't play like the calm.
It should have been a better contrast with Riddler.
Well, he should have been contrasting back and forth.
To work with the Riddler, he should have been the straight face of Two-Face more often than not.
You have the crazy asshole, but then you also have the...
Well, still, both sides of Two-Face should have contrasted with Riddler, at least Jim Carrey's interpretation especially.
Oh, yeah, one should have been way more mellow and one should have been way crazier, but instead they're just trying to be equally crazy.
Two-Face is trying to one-up him.
I was about to say, Tommy Lee Jones definitely probably feels inferior next to Jim Carrey, the crazy character actor, and is like, holy shit, this guy just is a new and actor.
Supposedly
He's
that's
up
how it
and
was
coming.
behind the scenes. He was pissed off at Jim Carrey's acting and being an idiot. And
Sounds about right.
Over the top or whatever.
Well, my number 6 is The Dark Knight Rises. There's things about that. A lot of people hate that movie, like absolutely fucking despise it. And I enjoy it. There's things in there I really like. I love seeing Batman have to overcome like all the bullshit, like having to be like physically fixed and all that. Obviously, it's a very long movie, right? It's the longest of that trilogy. It's kind of drug out. They could have done some editing on it. The Talia al Ghul and all that other shit was pretty predictable, but I just like the way that Bruce Wayne's portrayed as like just fucking haggard after all these years of fighting. He's not even that old. But he just beat the fuck.
And it's like 8 years after The Dark Knight. Too.
Yep, and his body's just beat to shit from
He's got like this
just from doing that for a couple of years.
And
yeah, and to me, like that's what stands out there because Catwoman has a great introduction, falls flat later on because they're just trying to use her, and then the whole thing like, yeah, no one's gonna be able to get on this island. Like, okay, whatever. There's some problems with it, but it's still, I have more fun watching that than I do.
It also
anything in the modern DC world.
It also has the unfortunate position of following the previous two movies, so it's a lot to live up to as well.
Yeah,
and I don't think Nolan wanted to do a third movie, or he didn't. Right?
It took him a while to come around to it, but then again, it took him around
if he didn't
a
have
while to follow
passion
up Batman
for it.
Begins. So,
you know,
my number 6.
Yeah, what is it?
Batman 66. 666, motherfucker.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, I didn't, but I just now noticed it.
He made a joke about 666. I bet the devil's gonna spend the night with him.
Yeah, no, I watched this for the first time when I was like a kid randomly when it was on TV, and my mom was like, "Oh, you should watch this." I used to watch it when I was a kid, and I was like, fuck it, sure.
Oh, I love that fucking show.
And I was like,
as a kid,
I was like 11 or something when I watched it for the first time, maybe 12. You know, pretty young, but old enough to realize it was goofy as hell, but also that
I watched it back
it was still
when
good.
The real Ghostbusters was still going. So like when I was 6.
Anyway, I dig it. I like all the villains in there. The whole it's sticky and it's hilarious. You get the classic bomb bit. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. The fucking shark repellent.
Oh yeah,
and they turn everyone into piles of salt that are different colors.
Yeah, it's fucking amusing as hell. It's a good time.
So what's your number 5?
Batman Returns.
Okay. Can you explain why?
Well, that struck a nerve.
It's my halfway point. But like I was saying earlier, after watching it the last time when we reviewed it, I liked it a little less than ever before. But I don't think it would be any different spot on my list before that.
Okay.
So I feel like
well, that's fair.
The other movies above it were still above it. Why is that your number 2? Number 1?
Number 1?
I do have a tattoo from it.
Yeah.
You know,
if you can't see it, check out Alex's Instagram at Ectoviolence. It's pretty fucking
Maybe you're just
dope.
a big Penguin fan.
That's true. That his performance as the Penguin, as goofy and hilarious as it is, and creepy and disturbing, is one of my favorites.
Exactly. I love it. And I don't care if it's not like the Penguin in the comics or other media. Danny DeVito as the Penguin there is fucking glorious.
Yeah. It's basically
every type of fucking weird thing about who we are as people ourselves in real life that I love about a fictional character. It just fucking makes no sense, and not everything can make sense. Doesn't deserve to.
Did you give us your number 5?
Oh, my number 5 is Batman Begins. Batman Begins is fun. There's some cool stuff in it, but you're not dealing with Batman until the second half of the fucking movie.
Oh, God.
Some of my favorite things about that movie are the fact that you get to see Bruce Wayne like stealing his own shit and like making that. That's kind of neat. You finally got a villain that hadn't been in any of the other movies before, so I appreciate that.
Yes.
Oh, and Cillian Murphy is fucking great as Scarecrow. That's
Thank
what
you. Most people don't like.
But
dude, he's so good in everything he's in, man.
Yeah,
he's
like,
underrated.
You ever seen
But that's what
Red
pisses
Eye?
me off about that movie.
Like
And that's
movie a lot
what
for
ranks it
some
where it
reason.
does.
I don't have that one on DVD. I should get it though.
Is Cillian Murphy as the Scarecrow was a better villain than Ra's al Ghul.
Oh yes,
way better portrayal. Everything else.
He's better than Harvey Dent to me. Honestly, he's the second best to Joker. Obviously, you can't put him in front of the fucking Heath Ledger Joker, but
I don't like Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, Liam Neeson.
I don't think he's terrible, but it's not very compelling.
Well, Liam Neeson is just playing the same character he plays in every other fucking movie. He just feels like the same guy he is in
Liam
Taken. It's not. I mean,
the only time I really like him is like Darkman. I guess that's over the top and hilarious.
I don't hate his guts as Qui-Gon Jinn, but I also
I guess that's a good point.
But like everything else, he seems to be kind of like this one step-by-step same kind of a character. And I get that, right? You cast someone like that for a reason, but obviously that's another prime example of, hey, here's whitewashing in Hollywood because we take someone that's not a white man and we make him a white man.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And use it as a twist.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, here's the twist. This is the white guy. You're like, oh, cool. Thanks. Great. So that's why that's number 5.
My number 5 is Batman Forever. I have... This one teeters between Batman Returns and Batman and Robin, not just in terms of when it came out, but in terms of mood and stuff. Because, like Nick said, it's not as wacky as Batman and Robin, but it's on its way.
It rides that line.
It's Joel Schumacher, all right? You can definitely see that. I mean, coming from us, the Frog Brothers podcast, we know some Joel Schumacher shit. And,
well,
what is he
you can
directing?
see...
There's a huge difference between Batman and Forever and Batman and Robin, like with him just being comfortable doing whatever the fuck he wants, which is fine, man. I love people that are confident.
The second one is a lot of other studio pressure and shit, too. It's not entirely his fault. And he felt fucking terrible for it for years and eventually apologized for it just so he'd be harassed less.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a bummer, but... no, I definitely see where it fits in and why because of who he is as a director. And obviously he put nipples on Batman. So that's a thing that happened.
Well,
I'm not big on Val Kilmer as Bruce either.
Yeah, he's not great, but I do honestly prefer watching him over George Clooney. Yeah.
I think Clooney could have been good in a straight Batman movie. Potentially.
I'm not saying he's bad, but yeah, that movie he does the typical Clooney bullshit.
He doesn't change his voice at all.
That's my Clooney
he's
impression.
just trying to be like
Batman
that.
Show.
He's just trying to be the handsome lead role in this, and it's like the goofy, and it just doesn't work for him in that.
The George Clooney impression is just looking down like this and then going.
Yeah,
which he literally does in that movie like 40 times.
When he's sitting next to Alfred.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of them. Yep.
I kind of like. I guess we're not talking about Batman and Robin, but it.
You think that's the best part of it?
It got serious with that. There was actually some good moments between Bruce and Alfred, and I'm like, what movie is this?
Yeah, but it kind of
feel like the same movie.
When I watch that though, I only think of how that actor feels. Like, if you're an old actor and you're like in your 4th Batman movie, imagine if they just wrote this part for you and like, all right, your character's dying in this one, and you're old as fuck already.
And they didn't actually kill him.
Do you start thinking about your own mortality a lot, and you're like, shit? If people think I look good enough to play a dying, sick character, holy fuck, maybe I am going to die.
When I first watched it, I was like,
yeah, I don't know. That's
might
the
not
other thing.
I'm getting existential about Batman and Robin, and it's not even the movie that's on my list right now.
Well, yeah, and they try to make it like sentimental there, but it's like so goofy. The rest of it's hard to take any of that serious.
They play that straight, and then everything else is fun.
Margaret, Peggy. Fuck.
Yeah, Alfred needs some better passwords.
But Batman Forever, it opens up and it's immediately in the action. I like that.
Yeah.
There is no origin story for Two-Face. You don't have to get that, so you get Two-Face the whole fucking movie,
show like a news
as opposed to Harvey Dent.
They
That's
show
what
like
I mean.
a news clip later on showing him getting,
which is great.
Yeah, that's all you need.
You
for
don't
that.
need Two-Face to exist for, I don't know, literally an afternoon in Dark Knight.
He got some plastic surgery at some point.
Like he exists
to go from a black man.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're not. That is actually a thing to be
I want
very
that
pissed
backstory.
about. I want Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent. That'd have been much better, I think. But
he could have pulled that off too.
Imagine like a dark fucking Two-Face from him that's also charismatic as fuck because he was and is, if not one of the most charismatic fucking people. Just that voice.
Yeah, he could have played. He could have played that very
I'm
well.
Two-Face.
Let me flip my coin.
I just fucked your wife. What are we at? Number 4?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Batman 89. I wore out my VHS tape on that.
What the fuck?
That
doesn't even make sense.
Stop calculating my list and fucking pay attention to yours.
I can't. I'm hurt.
Does anyone else feel like Nick should be destroyed here? No, and I will say this. I'm just going to throw this out here.
Oh, God. I'm going to have a heart attack.
You would think Nick and I are nearly the same age. He's up. You're older than me, basically.
I'm 11 months older than you, yeah.
And you think that we'd have similar, takes just because
We
we
do.
grew up with these? What the fuck? We don't. Eat my ass.
I mean, overall of all the different things we like. But
I
we
mean,
have
yeah, but
some
like in this
differing
ranking
opinions
itself.
on Batman.
But I'm just wondering if we should have you checked for.
I don't even know what he has left to
A
be
mental
the
disorder.
better
I don't know.
things. He literally has to have.
Batman Begins in the Dark Knight.
Stop trying to figure out.
We already know what your list is, Nick, so it doesn't really matter at this point. Does anyone else feel like striking Nick? If there is a God and you agree with me,
I don't think
please
my list.
strike Nick down.
I don't think my list is that crazy, except for one thing.
Oh, you're just trying to be controversial. Nick loves fucking trolling. If
No,
Nick,
I'm not. This is serious.
If Nick was a superhero, he'd be some sort of thing that turns into a fucking troll.
This
when
is
he's trying to
100%
piss people
serious.
off.
This is 100% serious.
bullshit. He's trolling over here.
But my list isn't that controversial, other than one thing.
Shit-eating son of a bitch!
All right. Well, you want to explain why that one's all the way down at number 4?
What do you mean all the way down?
You know exactly what the fuck
It's
I
4
mean. all
out
the
of
way
10.
down.
All right. He has nothing to say.
Okay.
Well, I can. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't have. I mean, well, there
There is nothing wrong with it. Thank you. Everything I needed to hear, I just heard.
I'm not saying it's like the Batman 66. It's my number 8, but I have no.
Come on! You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts!
Hey, speaking of Batman 66, that's my number 4.
I scared book.
Fucking love that movie. That movie's so fucking cheesy and amazing.
Wait, what'd you say?
The major
That's my
bad
number
thing
4,
about
Batman 66.
Major bad thing about 89 is just having Joker be the person that killed his parents. I think.
I don't think most people give a fuck about that.
Oh, a lot of people did.
I mean, I just brush it off because it's such a small part of that movie. You
But
could
it's
literally
fine,
cut it out and it doesn't
because
matter.
It's not supposed to be.
Yeah, you can edit that right out.
100%
No
accurate.
problem.
You know what's
to
worse
comics.
than that?
So I don't have a problem.
You know
with
what's
that.
worse than that? Is them retconning it again in Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's worse.
Yes.
I feel like they just didn't hire anyone to look like Jack Nicholson or something, because they don't explicitly state.
There's no. It's.
But it feels like the Schumacher movies are in a different.
But they're not.
I
The
know,
Alfred's the
but
same.
it feels.
So is Commissioner
Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon's
Yeah.
the same actor too. And
But it still feels like it's a different.
Well,
universe,
it's
but-
not.
No, I know.
And Robin carries over between the latter two. So my number 4, like I said, was Batman 66. I love that
my number
movie.
4 is Batman Begins.
Batman 66 was the first one I ever bought on DVD. Found it in like the $3 bin or $5 bin at Walmart before I found everything else. And I bought that because I remember watching it growing up, and it's just so campy and cheesy that you're like, fuck yeah, this is fun. And it's so different than Batman 89 for me, like the ones I watched the most as a kid. Fucking love it. It's good. I love how cheesy it is. I love all the fucking like lifelike comic book nonsense in there. It's so fucking idiotic. It's amazing.
I just can't even imagine this man's list.
You're still pissed at Nick?
I'm still just shocked. I'm just shocked.
All right, well, carry on with your number 4.
You want to know what the only novelization of these movies I've read?
Batman Returns?
Yeah.
That's because that's...
Did
I
everybody?
have the junior novelization of that still on my shelf.
Batman Begins. Cillian Murphy is great. The only thing that's, like I said, we don't like about this movie, pretty much we already covered. There's a little bit too much of no Batmaning. A little bit too much of
But it's still Bruce becoming
Liam Neeson.
Batman, unlike
yeah, but
Dark Knight Rises, where there's
some of it's still too boring, though. And it's like, I don't care as much.
Yeah, and when I'm reading a comic, I don't mind that, but when you're doing a movie, you need to make it fucking interesting.
Yeah, because then you have very little other Batman shit. Like, there's not enough Batmaning, but the Batmaning that is in that movie is some of the fucking best. It rules. Like, that second half of the movie, well, really, not even the very end is necessarily as
Or
way
first
for
comes
me.
on, he's like dipping down and grabbing the guys. And
Yeah, like all that shit. It's great.
do you guys ever hate the voice a lot, like a lot of people do?
Whose voice?
No, it's logical.
The Batman voice.
It's logical
No,
that he would have
makes
to
sense
change
to
it.
me. No, I'm
didn't-
fine with
I
it.
never really hated it.
I mean,
it's laughable for sure, but it's not like it doesn't mean it's not something that isn't
But
realistic or
to
good.
me, it also makes sense, and I'm not sure if a lot of people have ever thought about this much, but when you look at that cowl and specifically on his face in that first movie, like the way it's like on the bridge of his nose, it just feels like he's always like congested, so he's talking like that when he's got it on, you know. Because if you talk like that with it off, it's different, but when you start getting your nose pitched a little bit, that's what he sounds like. So it's a whole other level of the fucking
So he
cowl
designed
fit
it to
too.
pinch his nose. So he
Yeah,
can-
the cowl fit on that like plays a part of that to
Oh,
me
which,
as well.
by the way, the worst part of Dark Knight Rises is when Batman's talking to Catwoman and she walks away when he's looking away, and then he turns around and she's gone, and he goes,
So that's what it feels like. Yeah, that is a pretty shitty one.
It fucking just triggers me.
Cheesy.
He likes making those jokes to himself.
Right.
All right, number 3.
For me?
Do you want us to skip you?
I can't remember whose turn it
We
is.
can skip you if you'd like.
Batman.
You want to just cut him out and have this conversation?
Batman Begins. No. Yeah. The ending loses points for me. I don't like the whole action sequence with that microwave whatever vaporizing water and Commissioner Gordon in the Batmobile shooting.
I'm looking for a sign of heaven for you getting vaporized right
That's
now.
the worst.
I feel like Dr. Evil. Just want to... And when Mr. Boogersworth gets upset, people die! People get muted!
Bigglesworth, not Boogersworth.
He's talking about his dog that's in the room. God damn, it's called a wordplay.
Mr. Boogersworth.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the year one stuff a lot.
Well, son of a bitch. My number 3 is Batman Returns.
I think we have the same top 3.
Batman
Mine is
Returns
also
is
Batman Returns.
It's fun. Now, I will say that when we watched it to review it, it is trash when you look at it from modern eyes. But I look at this and mostly watch it with nostalgic views of how funny it is, and
once the issues are really pointed out
mostly,
to you, it sticks out better.
Like,
yeah.
Catwoman's crazy in there. That suit is so iconic. And then fucking Danny DeVito in this. I would just love a movie without fucking Batman and him just being fucking the Penguin. Fucking
that's the
sign
thing.
me up for that. I
The
want
reason
that.
the negative things that stick out these days after you watch that Kevin Smith commentary where he points all the things out, it's very much because Kevin Smith saw this as an adult Batman fan. Like, he was 20, 19, you know, so he was able to realize all of the ridiculous things when he watched it. We were all
playing
much
with
younger
Batman
than
toys,
that
yeah.
and like, fucking A, holy shit, and just blown away by this shit until years later when we realized, no, there's some things that are off, but still, this is where it sits.
Yep. Well,
I liked it as a kid in the Happy Meal.
You're on par with me there?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your number 2 then, Nick?
Number 2.
Batman vs. Superman. Yeah? Oh, that's your number 1, isn't it? What? Are you laughing at like a fucking pervert over here? Don't ever look at me like that again. That's fucking scary. Did you just...
Oh, Jesus! Oh, God! Oh, Jesus! God! Oh,
That was the
Mary,
creepiest
Mother,
thing you've ever
Jesus,
done.
Jesus of Nazareth!
Do you want to trade seats?
I thought you guys had already figured it out.
We'll solve that problem real quick.
I thought you guys had already figured it out, so I was surprised that you hadn't.
You gonna talk, or are we just gonna skip you?
If I don't look at you, maybe. The Dark Knight has a good Joker in it. And that's about it.
So that's your number 2?
Mhm.
And that's about it. It has a good Joker, and that's about it.
I'm just going by what everybody always talks about.
Bitch.
Okay, well, that was boring.
And Two-Face looked really cool. That effect.
So my number 2 is The Dark Knight.
My number 2
We're in sync.
is The Dark Knight.
Oh my God, all three of us.
Yeah, but I can articulate why.
Yes. First of all, I was captivated by the opening scene. The opening scene is fucking epic.
Perfect. Yes.
It is like...
And it's fucking shot in IMAX. It looks so fucking beautiful in Blu-ray. Oh, it's amazing.
It takes the Batman Begins.
It takes that levelness
takes
of
it-
being grounded in reality and just immediately says, look, we're still in reality and here's some fucked up shit.
They go further into reality in this one, it feels like.
Yes.
Like, the opening shot is like, oh, this is real world. This is very much... This is happening. Whereas sometimes in Batman Begins, you do feel like it does cross over into Batman 89 territory. The Gotham shit, anyway.
Yeah.
Not because it's on a soundstage, just because it's the vibe they got out of me sometimes. Dark Knight...
What the fuck?
It builds on something. I don't know how to describe it. It has this gangster film element to it that is
yes, it feels
crazy
like
good.
It's a crime film like on its own.
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
What's that actor's name in the beginning with the shotgun?
Isn't that the guy that plays the Shredder in the Ninja Turtle movie, Reboot Crime?
Oh, fuck.
Pretty sure it is.
Something
He doesn't play
Mickelson or
Shredder,
something?
did he?
Is that who I'm thinking of that is?
But he's in the Ninja Turtles.
You and your friends are dead.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good as the bank manager, like trying to protect the mob money in there and like fucking pulling the shotgun out, and then he just gets fucking murdered.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, yeah, they did. It feels like a very smart crime movie.
William Fichtner.
Like it, honestly, that beginning part is like Point Break in Batman. Like that's the vibe I get.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen Point Break when I saw this originally, but now I have, so I can piece that together.
One of my other favorite parts is how great Morgan Freeman is as Lucius Fox in this.
Yes.
Because, like, he's clearly way more fucking grounded in reality and morals and everything else for someone that deals in war weapons than Batman and
The
Bruce
Bat
Wayne.
Cycle?
Yeah. The Bat Pod or whatever they called it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Bat Cycle. Fuck off with that pod shit. But
yeah. I mean,
I guess
and I like how it's basically...
it comes out of the Batmobile.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't like the Batmobile design from this trilogy at all. I fucking hate it, to be honest with you, but I love the idea of it. The idea that this is made for the military to do certain things with specific functions. You're like, okay, that's
a
fine.
good pick for Batman's first Batmobile, I think, because it's something that was already on hand. But
I think it
after
should have been
that, they
adjusted
should have
in
done
this movie
They should
a
have
little
done
bit.
something more different.
For sure.
More expected, I think, later on.
Yeah. No, that's a great one, though. So, but let's move on to number 1. Go ahead, Nick. You can word vomit.
Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. I love Ben Affleck as Batman.
Fucking thing sucks.
I love Batman in the movie, not the whole movie itself, not the Superman stuff.
Right.
But I think he's the best Batman. And that's why it's number 1. And I wish he got a solo movie.
Yeah, you do see how this might make us look bad, right?
I love Ben Affleck in every crack.
If you want to see Ben Affleck in a solo Batman movie, just remember that time he made the Daredevil movie.
That's not his fault.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
He acted in it. That's 100% his fault.
So that
He
movie
accepted
would
that
have
role.
been, but the movie wouldn't have been good with someone else.
Maybe they would have tried more. He just thought, I'm friends with Kevin Smith. I can be in a comic book movie. Oh my God. I'm like, bitch, please. Now, granted, he was better as Bruce Wayne. He's not number 1.
He also played George Reeves playing Superman in the movie, too. So he's been Batman, Superman, and Daredevil.
Well, you want to see a good Ben Affleck movie, watch Gone Girl. He's an asshole in that.
I've seen that.
Well, it's better than
I've seen
Batman versus Superman.
Most
You want to watch a good Ben Affleck movie? Watch Dazed and Confused.
I've seen that. I wouldn't call that a
Watch
Ben
Dogma.
Affleck movie.
That's as much Ben Affleck as about I want.
Well, should we talk about the proper number one for anyone that's reasonable and humane?
Holy fuck. I mean, the only acceptable number one.
Can you show it off? He's going to grab it off the tape shelf.
This glorious bastard.
Look at this fucking tape.
Blinded by nostalgia.
Says Batman versus fucking Superman.
That's not nostalgia. I was like,
I didn't call it nostalgia. It doesn't. It's literally worse no matter how you play it.
Do you remember the advertisements on this VHS tape?
Mm-hmm. The Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and the Diet Coke commercial.
Diet Coke.
Yeah.
What about it?
Yeah.
Just telling you. That's how good. This movie's so good, the advertisements that precede the movie are good.
Mm-hmm. They did do a good job with that.
I will admit to you, it is my number one because it's the one that if I'm going to watch a Batman movie, that's what I'm putting in first. Because that's what hits home for me. That's what I enjoy watching the most. That's why Dark Knight is number 2. That's why the rest of my list is the way it is. I didn't do it just to be a triggering edgelord.
I'm not either.
If that's genuinely your number one, I can't respect any of your Batman opinions, and it all goes to garbage. Anything you say about Batman, I will just start going in my head, and I'll start like picking my ass in my mind. I'll imagine myself watching paint dry. That's the future.
Well, it's also like...
How can you do it? Because I have heard Nick's take on Batman.
Exactly.
It's also like these movies are...
It's one thing if that was like, your number 3 or 4.
Look,
number
man,
1.
there ain't no bat.
If that's it can't genuinely be your number 1. I just don't believe you.
But they're all like microscopically apart.
Oh, so you've never even explained that here at all. Now you're just acting like you're trying to backpedal.
No, I said something about that earlier. I said
this is called the course correction, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I said it earlier. Before we recorded.
So when you see Nick in person, just be sure...
He thinks Ben Affleck's the best Batman. I mean, what else can you fucking say than that?
He is.
Okay. We get your shitty take.
And a lot of people like him a lot as Batman that didn't like the movie.
Yeah, I'm one of them. But he is nowhere near the best.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not even... No, he's literally like 4th. Yeah. 5th even.
Fucking crazy. It doesn't matter. You're
Michael
crazy.
Keaton. Christian Bale. Adam West. Val Kilmer. Kevin Conroy.
Well, we're not doing the animation.
George Clooney.
No.
Ben Affleck.
No. That's insane.
Actually, my asshole, Ben Affleck. My asshole makes a better Batman.
That's insane.
Nope. Check out my OnlyFans. My asshole played Batman, and he did a much better job.
He got a cowl tattoo on his butthole.
Yeah. My asshole can outact Ben Affleck's Batman any day.
It's incorrect.
Well, I'm glad we got it right, Nick.
Fucking edgelord.
I'm not. This is a serious list.
It's not a serious list.
You can't even say it without
swear.
laughing at yourself. Oh, this is a serious list.
I'm laughing at your all's reaction to it.
Damn it, Beavis. This is a serious list. If he says Ben Affleck's the best Batman again,
It's
I'm
a
going to kick him square in
contrarian
the
opinion.
nutsack.
It is whether you admit it or not. Just by the fact that you're shaking your head like that, it's guaranteed that it is a contrarian opinion.
All right.
It's deep inside. It's not a you didn't think out loud, I want to be different.
You're trying to
but you did in your
rationalize
brain.
it.
Yeah,
You know
because
what?
I can't. I have a disconnect. It's like I don't understand people who believe in God. I also don't understand this. They're on the same fucking level. It's nuts.
You know what I hope for, no? Specifically now, just because it's kind of got that same Michael Keaton vibes, is I hope Robert Pattinson is an amazing Batman.
He'll probably be better than Ben Affleck, that's for sure.
Well, that's not saying much.
Nope.
He'll be harder to take as Bruce, I think.
No, that's what most people's problem was with Michael Keaton.
His Bruce.
Yeah, there's all kinds of articles that were basically, they just changed out the words for Michael Keaton to Robert Pattinson. Basically from
Well,
old magazines in the
he looks
80s
like
talking shit.
He looks like a young Bruce Wayne.
Well, this is a young Bruce Wayne. So if you like Batman Year One stuff, maybe you're gonna.
But I think
maybe you're gonna fix your list and get your brain fixed.
How old is Robert Pattinson?
Old
He's
enough to be
probably
your
in his
mom.
30s now. At this point, yes, because that guy's older than me, or the same age, almost.
He's 34.
There you go. He's 4 years fucking older than me.
Hey, Booger, who's your number one Batman?
But he looks younger, so it works for like 28-year-old Batman or whatever he's
Oh
supposed to
shit,
be.
he just grabbed fucking Batman 89 off the shelf.
No, he
Some
didn't.
is Michael
No,
Keaton.
I didn't. Consider the camera.
That's a pretty smart dog there.
Well, Batman versus Superman isn't in here for him to grab, so.
Well, that's because it was never released
that's
on a
why
good
he
format.
That's why he didn't grab it.
All right, so now that we're done destroying each other and wanting to rip each other's faces off.
No, we're not done.
Okay, you want a few more minutes?
No, I'm just saying.
I was gonna
the rest
say.
of the podcast, I'm going to be subtly looking over there, just pissed.
You already knew.
No.
Hey, after hearing
It's
this,
literally
because we've had the ranking argument off camera.
I knew that you liked it better than Dark Knight Rises. That's all our argument was.
I've told you before, Ben Affleck's my favorite Batman, but you repressed it.
this is amazing.
I just can't.
You know how he's the bomb in Phantom, yo. He's also the. If they made another movie with Ben Affleck, Jay and Silent Bob, they would say Ben Affleck was the bomb in Batman versus Superman, yo.
I'd rather watch Kevin Smith play Batman.
Well, so would I. I mean,
well, shit, he's in
that
shape
would be-
enough to now.
That'd be interesting.
He could.
Oh,
he was kind of Batman in Mallrats, though, so you kind of already seen that.
So we do have an opening here at the Frog Brothers podcast for an intern.
Mm-hmm.
Only requirements are that you'd have not shitty opinions about Batman.
We have purchased the likeness rights
If
to
we-
Nick, though.
Oh.
So if you would like to
Exactly.
purchase a punching bag with Nick's face,
If we all agreed on
each-
everything, this wouldn't be very interesting.
I'm not asking you to agree with me. There's reasonable answers for this. That is
just-
not one of them.
Yes, it is.
No,
he's
it's
asking you to show your humanity, and you're over here acting like a monster.
Dark Knight, Batman Returns, or Batman Begins, and Batman 89 would have been acceptable answers that I would have lived with. And been like, yeah, I get all four of those being someone's number one. I can get that.
Well, I hope it keeps you up at night.
It does.
But we will have to revisit this after the new Batman movie comes out.
Yeah,
See
we're only
wh-
going to rank the top 10.
see
So
where we
you can pretty
stick
much
it.
tell you that right now I'm going to still like that better than my number 9 and 10.
We just say where we would stick it.
Yeah, I don't care how bad that movie is. It's going in front of Batman versus Superman and Justice
See?
League.
That's irrational.
No, it's not, because
Yes,
that
it
movie
is.
is a Batman movie, and neither
Because
of
you're
those
making
are.
a predetermined.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
We added fake Batman movies on there.
Mm-hmm. They're not even. We shouldn't have even included those.
That just
motherfucking
shows
things.
you how much Warner Brothers trusted him to be Batman that they didn't even give him his own solo movie first.
No, they were in a hurry to get the.
He was going to
Justice League, is
direct
why they
his
did
own
it.
too, and then they were like, "No, fuck off. We don't want you." I mean, I don't actually know how it went down, but that's how I like to imagine it, because fuck him.
They probably just weren't.
Actually, I don't even really hate Ben Affleck or anything. I'm just kind of like,
They probably just weren't going to let him do
doesn't-
what he wanted after that. At that point, I think that's probably where the conflict came in.
All right, well, Booger's getting stressed out, so let's move along.
And supposedly, what's his ass that runs it wanted a young
Boogie.
Batman.
He's okay. I got him.
What's he doing?
He's just
He
stressed
probably
out
has to go
because
to the bathroom in a minute.
He just stressed you guys are fighting. He's like, Mom and Dad are fighting, and my uncle's over here.
Oh yeah, he's getting finger banged. In
Scratch
the
his
ears, scratching the dog
my
ears.
God.
Just to clarify.
Alrighty then.
All right, let's move along.
Move along to the firing the intern segment.
Twin Peaks.
You know what I just watched? Me pulling a can off some moron's fist? Return of the Jedi.
Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god! You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
4 Rooms.
4
Fucking
rooms.
classic.
4 directors. 4 chapters.
1 Tim Roth.
Is this a well-known movie?
Among film people and people who are like into cult films, yes.
Yeah, I'd say
Cult
it's
film,
definitely
for
a
sure.
cult film, right? If you know Donnie
in
Darko, you know
general,
4
no.
Rooms. But the general population probably is not
I feel
familiar
like
with
Donnie
this title.
Darko's a lot more known.
Well,
in
Donnie
general.
Darko is. I would definitely say. In
Well,
terms
Donnie
of,
Darko
like,
had the luxury of being one of those movies that hit on DVD.
if you're talking cult films, there's a tier list. I think we've discussed this before, but top tier includes Rocky Horror, Fight Club, Donnie Darko, that kind of shit. This is at least a level
I
below
feel like
that.
Rocky Horror is the #1 cult movie.
That, Fight Club, Donnie Darko, they're ones that you watch when your 16-year-old 16 years old, and then you start thinking you know things about movies because you're watching some cool shit. Pulp Fiction's in that list. Where you watch it for the first time, and you're like, whoa, I've got something here. Evil Dead that's in this category A as well. But Four Rooms, I'd say, is probably category B. A little deeper.
A little bit more of a deep cut.
Way down.
But really
deeper and deeper.
It's really good.
Deeper and deeper.
I watched Office Space the other day.
Fucking
Because
love
I
that
hadn't
movie.
watched it in a while, and
Two chicks at the same
I
time.
couldn't watch it when I have a job I hate because it makes me want to quit my
Quit,
job,
yeah.
like real bad, like fucking hard.
They
So
gotta rob them too.
When I used to have jobs I hated, I would always
talk later.
watch that after having a bad day.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, it's therapy. But that's a whole other topic.
But Four Rooms, the directors, let's name them real quick. Allison Anders or Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Robert Rodriguez, and Quentin Tarantino. Starring Tim Roth and a couple other people, but mainly Tim Roth, who has a great performance in this.
Yeah, it's great.
He's the-
Comedy chops.
He works as the centerpiece and holds the movie together for sure.
His body movements.
His
alone
mannerisms.
should've given him
His
the Oscar.
talking, his ludicrousness.
He should have got an Oscar.
He has all the physical characteristics of Mr. Bean
That's what I was
and
gonna say.
Chevy
He's the
Chase
American Mr.
combined.
Bean.
He's like a combination of Mr. Bean and Chevy Chase, where he can like talk and be an asshole, but he can also be really quiet and just crazy physical mannerisms. It's perfect. It's great.
Yeah. Let's talk about the segments in order, I suppose.
Was there
you start out with him talking about.
Was there a fifth director for like the beginning and the in between?
No, I'm pretty sure they directed like that beginning is attached to the first one in terms of who directed it, I think. And same with the other pieces.
Like between
The
rooms 3
segue,
and
the
4?
segues before they officially title it, I think, were done by the director leading into that.
Yes.
Right. So the bit up in front is basically that director, and then as you go through.
And I'm sure a lot of them were on set for each other's shit too.
Well, yeah, especially those. They all could have been collaborating on some of those pieces.
So number one is the missing ingredient in the honeymoon suite,
which is sperm.
Yeah, cum, jizz.
Yep.
Spelunk. White gravy, man gravy.
Marshmallow fluff.
Underpants navy.
Spooge.
Yeah.
Ejaculate.
Man milk.
Frothy ejaculate.
What else? What else? What do you got? Are we out?
Did you say spunk?
Black light phlegm.
Black light phlegm, huh? Never heard that.
I just made it up.
White Russians.
Those two.
All right. I think that's all.
If you think of anything else, just interject and say it.
I think the main thing to take away from this is, as sad to say and as pervy as it may be, is
Baby powder.
Ione Skye topless.
Mm-hmm.
She's topless a lot and is trying to bang Tim Roth so she can get his cum for her witch's coven.
And her whole little speech in front of it is like she basically just admits to swallowing on accident. She got too excited in the moment and didn't save the load. So, much to Tim Roth, he's Ted the bellhop, so he really gets to get.
He was
his
a
rocks
loyal
off.
employee, so she has to hypnotize him.
Fuck that. He's probably just like anyone else in the service industry. Just gets abused by people all day, hoping to get a bigger tip by being nice when they abuse him.
Yeah.
Now, granted, when he recaps the day later on, he doesn't have a lot of complaints about this situation, but he just talks about how fucking weird the day is.
Yeah. No, it's my third favorite for sure. I like it a lot more than the second one.
The second one's my least favorite.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have Madonna in it,
there's
right?
just so many interesting things happening in the other ones that like
It feels like
overshadow it. Basically,
Feels like the second one just kind of ends abruptly. There's no.
It's not the worst.
Great payoff.
It feels like Blue Velvet to me. Which I don't know if you've seen, but it's a David Lynch movie.
I don't think so.
Styles, Kyle MacLachlan, and Laura Dern, and Dennis Hopper, and it's really good. But there's some weird shit in it where Kyle is interacting with Isabella Rose or something. I can't remember the actress's name, and Dennis Hopper, and it reminds me very much of this segment, which is just like this weird sexual fucked up tension and guns and violence and just weird vibes.
Because as soon as that other guy goes in there after Tim Roth, they start it over again.
But it's overshadowed very much so by the witch coven and the misbehaved the misbehaviors or whatever is that that's called. Yeah.
I think to me the biggest issue with this one is this is actually one of the shorter segments, and so much of it is just the witches being introduced into the room that it almost feels like an entire introduction to the movie, where it feels like they almost should have had an introduction on its own, where you would have seen some of these other guests check in maybe, because like I feel like that eats up too much time to be a little bit more compelling in the story of this room specifically, because
it also definitely feels like they saved Tarantino had to be last for sure.
Yeah.
And Rodriguez right before that.
Yes.
And then I don't know.
And it's nothing against this director at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just the fact that a lot of this is just the setup to what actually happens, and the significant portion of this, that, as far as the storytelling goes, is only really, a 5-minute segment? Like when
Something
she
like
basically sleeps with him, and then the witches all get happy and joyful, and then the woman rises out of the cum bubble water.
Yeah.
Cauldron.
Which is
Which
funny.
is that a cauldron, or is that supposed to be the honeymoon suites like bathtub that is just shaped like that conveniently? They don't really say specifically.
I think it's in there before they get there.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But one of the guests has already checked in when they go to that room, though, correct? Because you see Madonna and her daughter check in, and somebody's already in there. And then you see the one hippie witch. She's like, I travel light, and she's carrying a broom. Which actually, that broom was pretty cool because it's kind of one of those handmade ones, and it's got multiple color bristles in it.
Yeah.
So
I'm not stroking off. I'm petting my dog over here for those watching on the camera who may think that that's what it looks like I'm doing.
Stroking off underhanded.
I'm petting this dog super hard, man.
We're going to get him a headset so we can tell us his opinions on things, because he's important to the show and to the future of humanity.
So 309, The Misbehaviors, Robert Rodriguez. Oh, this is a lot of people like this one a lot.
Did you skip room 2?
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Not a lot to say about that one, I guess.
I mean, we talked about it while we were talking about the first one, kind of in the middle of it, and I don't have anything else to say about it.
The biggest piece is that Angela is a great actress in this. The guy that plays Siegfried, it just seems strung out. He's kind of a nutcase.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, they kind of show this going on twice at the end. They're like, hey, somebody else named Theodore is showing up. And he's like, my name's Ted. And
Ted and Annette
Fleming. He's got a small receivership. No, but the actress that plays Angela is great. Siegfried's an idiot and just fucking nutty. And it just seems so much like a crazy cuckolding. You're just like, huh, like that movie is way ahead of it. That part was way ahead of its time, like, because people are just into that shit openly now. And in 96, when this came out, people weren't just like, hey, I'll bang your wife in a hotel fantasy.
But
on New Year's
also,
Eve.
Blue Velvet came out 10 years earlier, and it kind of covers that weird shit, too, a little bit.
Yeah.
But then Eyes Wide Shut was done shortly after this. The 90s, in general, Crash, that I just watched, you need to watch that shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of underground and sexual, like, erotic thrillers in the 90s.
Yeah, and
that
how
are
many
more
people learned about this
underground.
shit through the movies,
Yeah.
right? And I just kind of feel like that's one of the things that this movie kind of sets up for people.
Mhm.
That segment, anyway. But yeah, let's move on to the misbehaviors. Get your fucking chin off that goddamn pop filter, you dog butt licker.
Don't lick my dog's butt, please.
He's resting his head on Empire Strikes Back.
It's a good place to rest it.
And Return of the Jedi.
Good to feel
It's
the
good
hate
taste.
flow through you. Robert Rodriguez's room. Antonio Banderas.
Don't misbehave.
Which, anytime I see this era of him, I imagine the version of Zorro, the movie starring him that was directed by Rodriguez. Because, he was supposed to direct that, and that's why Banderas is attached to that movie.
Did he direct the second one, too?
Did he direct the second what?
Zorro with...
He didn't direct Zorro.
Oh, I
That's
thought you
what
said
just
he did.
No, I
Okay.
said he was attached to direct it, and then he didn't direct it. But I want to see the one that he did. Like, I wish he would have directed it, because then it would have been fucking cool as shit, I bet. But that's why Antonio Banderas plays him. But that's where my mind drifts to. And, Desperado
Did
and
Martin
shit.
Campbell direct? Let me see.
I don't know, and I don't care.
So, the kids in this movie, or in this segment of the movie, are great. The brother and sister.
He knows how to write and
the subtlety,
direct kids.
And the subtlety throughout this is great, too, because, like, right, you see at one point in time the kid's like, it kind of smells in here.
I was right.
Then they do the whole foot thing, kind of smelling it, showing it off, like, hey, it's smelling like the kids are each blaming each other.
Yeah.
And then Ted comes in, and obviously haggles for more money, which I love how Ted just fucking making out like a bandit in this movie. That's the best part. Is like, once you realize he's gonna fucking quit, he's just like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna make as much money as I can tonight.
Yeah, he makes $1,500.
But did Antonio Banderas take it back at the end?
Didn't show that.
I'm assuming not.
No, I'm saying I wonder.
No.
Because he didn't take very good care of them.
The kids were alive still. What do you mean? They're
he
still
knows his
alive?
own kids, though. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't even look
Exactly.
surprised. Like,
that's why he says, "Did they misbehave?"
Did they misbehave?
Yeah, that's why when he walks in, he's not even shocked. He just
Yeah,
looking
he's
around
literally
oh.
like, "This is my life."
Yeah, he knows. He knows that's why it's.
They're
taken
alive, so he did a good job, I think.
Yeah, that's that whole segment.
Mhm.
That's how I read it anyway. If you see that segment different, let us
The
know.
eye ointment is kind of funny. That's and fucking fucked up and dark.
It is, and then she's like, "I got up and washed it off." She's like, "You never thought of that?" And he's like,
How much money?
Fuck. He gets called out on it.
How much money was in Madonna's tit?
Looked like a single hundred, maybe. I don't know.
Possibly.
So maybe like 1,600.
Yeah.
That we saw.
I love it. As soon as he sees the body, they show it to him. He starts vomiting.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so hilarious.
Exactly. And then the best thing about that, though, is he has vomit chunks on the front of his chin
Yes.
the rest of the segment. And, like, a lot of people would have just wiped that off for something else, but it just makes it so grotesque to have that on there that's perfect. Like, had he wiped it off on a sleeve
And then
or
they
something,
zoom in on his mouth with the vomit on every time.
yeah,
he
and
says whore.
he's still spitting pieces of the vomit out as he talks.
Fucking whore. Don't
Yeah.
call him that.
Oh, man.
Fucking needle in there, getting stabbed with that syringe. That's a funny
Kathy
segment, too.
Griffin. He calls
Oh, yeah.
Kathy Griffin later after that or whatever.
Those girls are playing Sega Genesis.
That's fucking hilarious. That whole segment to me where that one girl's talking to him.
Betty.
Because she's just stoned as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not even Betty. The chick before Betty when he's asking.
Well, I'm
talk
saying
to
that's her
Betty.
name.
And that's almost its
Kathy
own type of room because that's like a segment piece. Obviously, it's setting up the
Yeah.
next piece, but that segment doesn't feel like it was directed by Tarantino. And not in a bad way. I just mean it just kind of feels like the overall story arc. It just kind of fits.
Yeah, it just works, whatever it is.
And I love how she talks him into it. She's like, just before you go, I'll get ready. I'll come down in. But before you go, just go take care of these guys.
Yeah. This is the most entertaining bit for me in the movie. Just because, I mean, how can it not be? I'm a huge Tarantino fan. So, what are you going to do? I like that Tarantino's in it. Playing
Yes.
like a kind of an asshole filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
With mild success, but just the fact that he has a lot of money.
Yeah, he's just spending money that he probably should not be spending. I think that's the best part. He keeps opening all these bottles of Cristal.
And an uncredited Bruce Willis because he acted for no money in this, and the SAG tried to sue him.
So, yeah, their agreement to not have to pay anything was for him to not have his name in the credits.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff. I mean, I guess we don't have to talk about the whole plot of this because we kind of know it, but the ending of it, the whole setup, how he slowly brings the things out, and Tarantino drags it out because he's like it's almost like he doesn't necessarily want to tell the guy what's happening because he's afraid of it'll be like no, but he's also charismatic enough and confident and full of himself enough to be like, no, this is just what's happening. You're gonna do this, and then does that whole thing where he counts out the money, and it's all super very Tarantino-ish, like
Yes.
the writing in the it's
Well, and
excellent.
The visual presentation, the way they shot that is just perfect, right?
Oh,
it just
yeah.
all makes sense. And you get some of those angles, and I love I love that angle of just Tarantino talking to the camera because you're in Ted's perspective, so you're just having this dialogue with Tarantino there. That's perfect. It works so well for him
Yeah.
to kind of get those vibes because like he's clearly intense. Ted's afraid of like, whoa, this guy's fucking intense. Like, what the fuck's he doing? And so it just kind of like really levels that room up. Like, had you seen a side view of them having that conversation, it wouldn't have been intense in the way it is when you just see Tarantino talking to you like that, looking you fucking face to face.
Right.
It's just unsettling. And then I do like how they have Angela from the other room in there because like her character was kind of wasted in that, and then here she's just kind of casually hanging out. She has vibes of.
She's kind of pointless in this part too, though. Doesn't say much. Just kind of lays there.
But yeah, she's just kind of the eye candy in the room, right? They just kind of have something like, hey, here's something visual to look at and like break up the story part. And she's almost bridging that gap conversationally with them. Like, so he has a relationship with her already, so there's a level of trust there that they kind of fight for.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Again, I think she's kind of useless in there. Doesn't do much and is kind of boring and it's just casually cool to everything that's happening. It's like, why though? Fuck that.
Well,
She's weird to me. I don't.
You don't like her?
Well, it's just kind of pointless. Just takes away from the rest of the shit.
She gets him
in the
to
room.
stay and come back and hear the conversation. So I think she's clearly important, whether or not you like.
But I'm just saying, you could have given those lines to somebody else and it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
I don't think it had to be that girl. And like I said, she's just too cool about it. It's just weird.
She's in
it's very Tarantino.
She just met them, so she shouldn't. She should be having reaction closer to what Ted is having, regardless of what happened in her other room with that weird shit.
Yeah, has strangers coming in and pointing guns at them, though. It's not too far of a stretch, I think.
I think it is.
I don't know. I fucking love the final scene in this room, though. Just as he fucking hatchets that finger off is so fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I think
he just fucking does it, and then not only does that visually look amazing, but just the way he grabs the money, and you have that overhead shot of him collecting that money, folding it, and gingerly putting it in his pocket.
I think he's so fed up with the night he was ready to chop someone's finger off.
Yeah, like
Take
it was
their money
therapy.
and just get the fuck
it was
out.
therapy for him at that point.
Whatever he had to do to get out of that job that day, I think.
And then, as the credits start rolling, like you have to really appreciate this because the story continues with the credits, and it's amazing what's going on in there. They're running back and forth for the finger to get to the elevator. Everyone's kind of leaving.
Tarantino runs down with the ice bucket and falls and slips in, and all the ice and the finger go everywhere.
Yeah, it goes everywhere. And like to me, like you got the credits rolling in that point, like so beautiful that you're still carrying that on, even though you're kind of finished with the scene. You still get to see what kind of happens in the aftermath.
Yeah.
Without taking away from like the actual finishing.
Well, we're already at an hour and a half. We got another segment to go, so
let's go.
I suppose we'll move on from Four Rooms. We all kind of
one more thing.
Enjoyed it.
I think we should watch the episode of Alfred Hitchcock that their bet was based on.
Maybe.
If you find it, come back.
We now return to the real Ghostbusters.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
Pretty good. Bill Murray's the funniest man on the planet.
Episode by episode.
I'm now petting the emotional podcast support dog.
I'm now telling the computer exactly what it can do with a lifetime supply of chocolate.
So, Twin
Recognize
Peaks.
that line? Anyone?
Yes.
Anyone?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's one of my favorite lines in that movie.
So, Season 2, Episode 1.
Another fucking hour and a half episode.
Season premiere after 4-month loop off. Or 4-month break for the summer. Titled, May the Giant Be With You.
I've heard about you.
Yes. I've heard about you. I'm old. I'm going to die soon.
If only you people knew what I know. Yeah, the room service guy shows up with the warm milk, finds Cooper. Andy's on the phone. He hangs up the phone. It's a very slow-going scene, but that's just because it's David Lynch. He basically is like kind of ignoring everything that he's saying, and he's kind of just weird and aloof. And it's kind of confusing if you're watching. You're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Why doesn't he help him? What the fuck is he? He's making him sign for the fucking milk?
Yeah. Does that include your tip? Yeah, gratuity.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
As he's laying there bleeding out from the gunshot.
And then he when he's leaving, though, I love it because he's like, I've heard about you. And he does the thumbs up thing. And then he walks away. And he walks back down the hall and says, I've heard about you. And then he comes back again. And then the third time, he just winks and then gives a thumbs up again, walks away. And then the fucking room darkens and the giant just kind of walks out of thin air into the room.
Yes, and that giant is so off-putting, right? Just so
the way they shot it, the camera angle's down there low and it makes him seem huge. And he's you'll recognize him. He's in lots of stuff like Men in Black. He's Lurch in the Addams Family movies.
Yeah,
he was in many episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
He's in Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, he's in all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's a familiar face. He does a
his
great
name's
job.
Carol
in the role.
Stricken.
Sounds right.
Something like that. He tells him 3 things, and he
I'm going
says
to tell you
if they
3
come
things.
true,
If they come true.
you sound more like Vigo.
Wife to you, and owls to me. 3 things that will come true. There is a man in a smiling bag. The owls are not what they seem.
And
Without chemicals, he points.
which you'll obviously come to understand some of those things later.
The best part
He
of this...
takes his ring.
Oh, go ahead.
What are you going to say?
I was going to say the best part of all this is we're just getting weird immediately into this episode.
Yes.
Everyone was just fucking wanting something off this cliffhanger. Like, okay, do they know what's going on? And they're not in a fucking hurry to continue on with the regular story that you think they're going to tell.
Mhm.
They're just doing what David Lynch wants.
Yeah, they're getting to the meat. This is one of my favorite episodes of the show. It's great. So he takes Cooper's ring and he says that you'll get this. I'll bring this back to you when those things have come true. And then he says he raises his eyebrow and he says,
You will require medical attention.
No shit.
And that's kind of the end of that dream sequence at the beginning there, and we go over to Ben Horn and Audrey, where Audrey's still at the One-Eyed Jack's trying to avoid being fucked by Ben Horn, her father.
Yeah, that was really awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a well-done scene. It's just so off-putting to see that. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Well, he doesn't know it's her.
No, and yeah.
But she's like wearing a mask and avoiding him and trying desperately not to bang him because she's literally just trying to get information. She's not trying to actually be a prostitute and stuff. So that's what that scene is. There's not much else to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, really, her uncle basically saves her in that moment because he comes and yells for his brother, and he fucking decides to leave and take off to deal with other shit.
They show up and find Cooper shot. One of the interesting things about that is when they show the bullet and that it killed a tick. Did you see that part? There's
after
a tick on the end of the bullet.
After it came out of him? Or
like it hit a tick on his body and killed the tick. And him.
Yeah, it was on the bullet, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's one of those things I haven't noticed much when I've watched this before.
And after he comes to, Lucy gives that whole fucking recap and like fucking word vomits everything that's gone on.
Oh yes, that's amazing too.
That's so good. I mean, because
this happened. The mill burned down. Leo Johnson was shot.
Yeah,
like fucking everything.
Yeah, and the best part of that is it we've seen her previously like explain what happened on an episode of that soap opera she's always watching or that's always on in the background elsewhere in the series.
Yes, so it sounds like
and
that.
so it sounds like she's just recapping this, and it's ironic just because it's very much a soap opera show.
I was about to say, a lot of people view this show as David Lynch's and Mark Frost's commentary on TV, basically.
Yes.
So it's very interesting, and TV violence and TV sex and everything else like that. So, Mark Frost has a cameo in this episode.
Oh,
one of the creators of the show. He's the reporter.
Oh, okay.
In that on the TV. I think he's
throw
reporting the
pillows,
mill.
a TV news reporter.
Leland's hair turns white.
Yes, that's amazing too because it confuses the fuck out of everyone. He
It's
just
like
wakes up that way.
Potentially stress from murdering that guy, from murdering Jacques Renault.
Yep.
So that's fascinating.
Yeah, because you see him suffocate Jacques previously, and then he wakes up.
Previously on Twin Peaks.
Yeah. On the last episode of Twin Peaks. I love his turn of character in this, though.
Mm.
It's so amazing because all of a sudden he becomes this like jubilant, joyful man that's like finding the most in every situation.
He's a great character.
Because he's seen his daughter's dead, but then he's killed a man, but now he's like starting to appreciate life, and it's like too little too late, and it's confusing the fuck out of everyone, especially if you've never seen this series.
Yeah.
That's so great about it because he's so good.
The giant tells him, or no, Andy breaks down that fucking clue at one point later. Well,
the smiling wall.
Yeah, let's jump back over here first, I guess, to the Andy and them searching for the clue at Leo Johnson's house, and then Albert shows up.
Yep.
Andy loses his shit and pulls a Clark Griswold and fucking hits the floorboard and it smashes him up in the face.
Yep.
Where they discover the new boots and cocaine hiding under the deck there.
Yeah, that's a great scene because you're like, why is this going on? And then you really see how it's setting it up. And seeing him come in, obviously he's there to investigate the FBI shooting. But at first, you don't really get that at first. You just get this whole like comedic Griswold scene that actually has some importance to it. So
you have one of the iconic lines from this show shortly after, done by some random no-name guy at the fucking Double R, where he says randomly, "Hot damn, that pie is good." And James is arrested. Donna and Maddie are talking about it.
Yep. Yeah, they get him on that cocaine they find in there from that anonymous tip.
Albert examines Coop, helps him wrap him up or something while he's talking to him.
And he has a pretty damn quick recovery, too. And he's like, if you got a spiritual mind, your body heals fast. Or something along those lines. And you're like, fuck, okay. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's soap opera, so you can do whatever the fuck you want.
I like what he says about Andy. Where do they keep his water dish?
The bullet does penetrate his lower abdomen, right? Because he said he lifted up the
something like that.
The vest to scratch a tick.
Yeah, I think that's how they explain that whole segment. Yeah,
it is definitely a quick recovery, and he just sits right up. That would hurt so bad.
The one-armed man shows up at the
fucking
sheriff's station, acting all weird, talking about new shoes, selling the sheriff's shoes.
I thought he was gonna start shooting up the place.
I want to sell the sheriff's shoes.
Donna tries to fuck James through the jail cell, and he's not having it. And I'd have been like, fuck it, I'm already in jail. What are they going to do to me?
Yeah.
Stop the blowjob? I mean, that would suck, but I'd get at least half a blowjob.
You're already halfway there.
Fuck it.
May as well finish.
I was about to say, they can watch me finish. I don't care.
Just don't go pulling a Silence of the Lamb and throw it at anybody when you're done.
Cooper goes and sees Jacoby, which is a very uneventful scene, other than that he tells him what we already know.
Yeah.
One of the best scenes, Bobby and his dad at the diner.
Yes.
This is one of the things.
When those two
remember
sit down and
this
have
scene.
This dialogue, yeah.
Remember this scene.
Yeah, when you talked about him being like an important character and just how intelligent he is and everything else, yeah, it's really a profound moment, just as a father and son.
They have small talk a little at first. He asks about his work. He tells him it's classified.
The huckleberry pie is very delightful.
Yeah.
Or exceptionally fresh.
May I share something with you, Bobby? Zip, flop. No, just kidding. Just kidding, everyone. Just kidding.
Yeah, this isn't the Catholic Church.
I had a vision. And then he distinguishes it from a dream. It's not a dream. It's particularly a vision. He describes being in his house that he grew up in, but it's different. It's in the future. And he comes across his son, happy and carefree, he describes him.
Yeah, well, you were happy and carefree.
We embraced a warm embrace. And I could tell that you were happy and blah, 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 blah. You know, he gives him this speech that is hard to paraphrase because he's so articulate and insightful.
And sincere in it, right?
Yes.
And like, basically what you're getting out of him is that he has this vision, and he knows his son's going to be okay. He knows that no matter what's going on right now, his son's going to be okay. And I think that takes dramatic relief from him because he's seen all the turmoil his son's been in, and their relationship's been so strained.
And it is depressing to watch when you are in an estranged relationship with your own father. So you're like, damn, that's fucked up. So that's probably my favorite part of the episode, though, that speech with him and Bobby. I have optimism and confidence in your future. I wish you nothing but the very best. And he shakes his hand and leaves. And Bobby's left fucking crying like, oh, shit.
Yeah, he's like literally sobbing. Yeah.
The weird dinner at the Palmers with the Donna and shit. I don't with the poem and the piano scene, I'm good. I don't like that one.
Yeah, to me, that's just another example of showing him like his character development. Everyone else in there doesn't really matter, that he's just joyful and no one can understand his joyfulness out of that. Everyone's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. They're clearly recognizing that he's insane.
Yeah.
The Audrey scene where she's like laying in that bed is a very famous meme among Twin Peaks people, where she's thinking about Cooper, and people always put in parentheses, thinks about dick in silence. When they're horny bitches, basically. That's what that meme represents.
Yeah.
But it's always her laying in that bed in that fucking lingerie.
She looks nice.
Yeah. Nice is one way to put it.
So what else as we wrap up? Because this is a pretty action-packed episode. Like, when you're looking at it, it's a double length. It's a season premiere. And really all you're set up for is...
The giant appears again.
Yeah.
Says you forgot something and kind of projects like an energy ball into Cooper's head. And then Cooper goes to sleep. Teresa Banks wakes up at the end, which is also interesting.
Oh, they do have that conversation with Pete about his
Wait,
wife disappearing.
Not Teresa Banks. Teresa Banks is the girl that was murdered a year ago previously. What's the girl?
I don't know. I didn't.
The other girl that comes on the tracks?
Oh, the other girl that's on the train?
Yeah, I can't remember her name now. I'm
Yeah.
dumb as hell.
That's all right.
Either way. And then Bob, it shows them on the train and shows Bob wailing out. And the effects on his voices and all that shit are very cool and interesting.
Yeah.
I like it. Good ending to that episode. A little long. There's some stuff that could have been trimmed out of there, but hey.
For a season premiere, I think it, and having it be that long is... Nick, I'm surprised you didn't love this more just because the amount of trolling that they did with people in this one. Because you get a double-length episode that doesn't really answer any of your questions.
Yeah.
Besides, did Cooper live or die? And that's about it.
Cooper's alive. Shelley's alive. They think Catherine's dead. That's something we skipped over. But Catherine saved Shelley at the fire, remember? Shelley's alive. Where's Catherine? They assume that she's dead in the fire. Everyone else does. And Harry goes and talks to Pete about it. And Pete is like, that really sucks because we hated each other kind of, but she was my wife.
Yeah.
So
he's like, yeah, sometimes she takes long shopping trips to Seattle.
Yeah.
They kind of have that little dialogue there where he's like, they just don't know, right? There's no definitive answer there.
Yeah, but they assume she's dead, basically, so.
Presumed dead.
It's interesting for sure.
Well, that was a whole lot of food.
A whole lot of food, huh?
A whole lot of food. So let's close it out.
All right, I guess we're closing this week out. If you are listening to this on the audio feeds, be sure to hit up youtube.com/thefrogbros. Subscribe, like. You can see us. You can see us in our brand new set. The video store is still coming together, but looks pretty dope right now.
If you're following us on social media, Alec has been posting some badass pictures of this coming along.
Yep.
It's a nice little setup in here to record with. May the 4th be with you, you sons of bitches.
Yeah. And look forward to our Twister content that we will be doing later this month, the 15th through the 20th. You'll probably start to see some stuff popping up, so.
Popping up.
See you next time, pals.
Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.